Like, you cannot have two masters. You cannot have divided loyalty. And for 15 years, I have been having divided loyalty. For 15 years, I have been trying to follow God and follow the world. And that tension, that wrestling has torn at me from the inside out. And I have never been at peace because I've always been trying to serve two masters. And there's two verses that have convicted me of this. And one of them I've mentioned before because it struck me in one way, and now there's another part of it that is convicting me. And so James 1, 5-8, and this is the NLT version. It says, if you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking, but when you ask him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. Do not waver, for a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. Such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Their loyalty is divided between God and the world, and they are unstable in everything they do. I read this verse back in the fall, and this verse convicted me because I was like, I am as unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. I am unstable in everything that I do. And I felt that with all the rewrites, with all the iterations, with all the pivoting of looking at this person and seeing that strategy and, oh, that's cool, that works. And then looking at this strategy and I'm going to try that. And then flip-flopping back and forth to the point where I'm like, I didn't even know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I was supposed to do or who I was called to be. And I was just lost and confused. It was chaotic. There was a storm in the inside of my soul. And I felt that deeply. But then I recently read this again. And this time I was struck a little bit differently because I said, for a person with divided loyalty. And then the loyalty is divided between God and the world. And therein was where I was like, oh my gosh, the reason I'm unsettled, the reason I am blown and tossed by the wind, the reason I'm unstable in everything that I'm doing is because my loyalty is divided between God and the world. I am trying to build a business. I'm trying to do marketing strategies. I'm trying to write my website. I'm trying to figure out funnels and lead gen and messaging and all the things and who's my primary audience. And I am looking to the world for those strategies. I'm looking at Alex Hormozi and Russell Brunson and Jim Collins and just Dan Sullivan and these business experts, like worldly business experts, and I'm looking to them for my answer. And then I'm looking at what everybody else is doing, and I'm also paying attention to that instead of choosing, like, who am I going to fix my eyes on? Where does my hope come from? Where does direction come from? Who is lighting my path? Who's a lamp to my feet and a light to my path? Like, who is that? Lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will show you which path to take. Seek first the kingdom of God. I'm like, who am I seeking after? Where is my loyalty? And I'm trying to build a kingdom-minded business following the world's ways and the world's strategies. And there's the rub. There's the tension. There's the divided loyalty. And then in Matthew 6:24, it says, no one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. And here's the thing. The world's way of doing business is about money. Like, that's what we're after. Like, and not to say that there's not some well-intentions there, but ultimately the master in that, if you're following the world's way of doing business, the master of that is money. Or you can decide that I'm going to follow God. And so if I'm following God, what does that mean? What does that mean for my branding? What does that mean for my messaging? What does that mean for how I show up? What does that mean for being aligned with what he's calling me to do, for how he created me, for how he wired me, for what this looks like played out